What if it was real? That'd be pretty whack, right?
Hey, that's supposed to be my...
The two main players of this story are Chara, the first fallen human.
And Sonic.exe, the god in hedgehog form. I'm Nils.
I'm Nick.
We are your playwrights, and we hope you enjoy this bloody show we are putting on today. Without further ado, let's teach you a little bit about these characters. Welcome, audience, to the Nebula Theater. Once upon a time, there was a war between humans and monsters.
The humans were victorious, forcing the monsters into a subterranean world called the Underground, and erecting an everlasting barrier around them, forcing them to live in isolation for the rest of their days.
For the monsters, this was a crushing sentence, but under the guidance of the peaceful King Asgore and Queen Toriel, they were able to make the most of their situation.
During this, the king and the queen had their first child, Azrael Dreamer, who was destined to do great things, but he would not be their only heir.
One day, something unexpected would happen. An unhappy child would fall into the underground, a human named Chara.
The king and queen adopted Chara as their own.
Solta meu filho aqui, solta meu filho, quem foi prender meu filho? Meu filho, solta meu... quem foi que prendeu meu filho?
The king and queen adopted Chara as their own, and Chara and Azrael would soon become best friends, as good as siblings even. But there was something that still left Chara discontent.
Chara came into the underground with a hatred for humanity, especially after hearing about the monster's imprisonment. And once they found out how to destroy the barrier, it was only a matter of time before they enacted a plan to free the monsters.
Now, Chara's plan was to poison themselves with toxic flowers and then die. Points for creativity. Then they would have their best friend Azrael absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. Absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. Absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. Absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power. Which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. There, Azrael with Chara's soul would kill 6 more humans and take their souls.
You see, human souls contain incredible power, and this barrier could only be destroyed by the might of 7 human souls. This bloody show we are putting on today. Without further ado, let's teach you a little bit about these characters. Welcome, audience, to the Nebula Theater. Once upon a time, there was a war between humans and monsters.
The humans were victorious, forcing the monsters into a subterranean world called the Underground, and erecting an everlasting barrier around them, forcing them to live in isolation for the rest of their days.
For the monsters, this was a crushing sentence, but under the guidance of the peaceful King Asgore and Queen Toriel, they were able to make the most of their situation.
During this, the king and the queen had their first child, Azrael Dreamer, who was destined to do great things, but he would not be their only heir.
One day, something unexpected would happen. An unhappy child would fall into the underground, a human named Chara.
The king and queen adopted Chara as their own, and Chara and Azrael would soon become best friends, as good as siblings even. But there was something that still left Chara discontent.
Chara came into the underground with a hatred for humanity, especially after hearing about the monster's imprisonment. And once they found out how to destroy the barrier, it was only a matter of time before they enacted a plan to free the monsters.
Now, Chara's plan was to poison themselves with toxic flowers and then die. Points for creativity. Then they would have their best friend Azrael absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. There, Azrael with Chara's soul would kill 6 more humans and take their souls.
You see, human souls contain incredible power, and this barrier could only be destroyed by the might of 7 human souls. Chara sacrificed himself to both save monsterkind and exact vengeance upon humanity. But they weren't the only one in control, since Azrael made up half of their fusion.
Now, Azrael wasn't fully on board with the whole killing the humans thing. When a crowd of them attacked him out of fear, Azrael didn't fight back. Instead, he abandoned Chara's mission, returned to the underground grievously wounded and empty-handed.
There, Azrael would succumb to his injuries and die, turning into dust while holding Kara's corpse. The king and queen had lost both of their children after one failed plan.
Man, when you really think about it, Azriel's kind of an L-mans. Like, Kara killed themselves for this, and Azriel did nothing, basically making both of their deaths kinda pointless. Like, killing 6 humans obviously isn't a great thing, don't get it twisted, but still. Are you crying?
No, shut up.
I'm sorry, man. In any case, the underground is now thoroughly shaken. Even after being imprisoned, the humans continued to take from them. To keep hope alive and to get revenge on humanity, Asgore made a drastic decree. All humans who fall underground will be killed, and their souls taken.
As the years went by and more children fell underground, Asgore collected all but one of the souls needed to destroy the barrier and finally escape into the human world, starting the war all over again.
This is where the story of Undertale begins, as you take control of the player character Frisk, the latest fallen human to fall into the underground.
Frisk is mysterious. Not much is known about them from before they fell. But what we do know is that with your help, they are actually a very capable fighter.
Toriel teaches the human the very basics of combat, how to defend themselves, and how to pacify foes without fighting at all. Each monster has a way to pacify it non-lethally, but it is still an RPG. So you have the option to do it the old-fashioned way and just kill them all.
Kinda makes you wonder what would happen if you went out of your way to kill literally everyone, doesn't it?
Just full scorched earth. Undertale isn't just a traditional RPG. It's also a bullet hell, which means Frisk specializes in dodging attacks, waiting for openings, and then punishing the opponent with strong blows.
And Frisk's equipment, while limited, does the job just fine.
The human has the torn notebook, burnt pan, empty gun, and the strongest weapon anyone's ever seen, the real knife. It hurts just looking at it.
That's not even mentioning Frisk's best weapon, their cell phone. Look, hear me out. This cell phone can let Frisk fly and let them shoot lasers.
Not to mention the numerous healing items they have to keep themselves in the fight longer.
Monsters in Undertale don't fight conventionally. They attack the soul directly, meaning that these items are not only healing Frisk's body, but also their soul as well.
But even if their soul is destroyed by an enemy, the human has a broken ability called determination. Just like a video game, this lets Frisk save their progress and load back into their previous save point. So Frisk journeys through the underground, killing every single being they can get their hands on, increasing their level as they go.
Actually, it's not pronounced level, it's pronounced love. Frisk is increasing their love as they go.
Now, hang on just a second. What do you mean their love increases the more they kill people?
So LV is actually short for love, and love is an acronym of levels of violence.
Well, I guess that's the level of writing we could expect from award-winning game dev Toby Wait a second. Does EXP stand for anything weird?
It is become players' actions.
He's pretty unintimidating, but the truth is he's the last defense between the human and everyone else. And turns out, when he isn't avoiding work, he's pretty damn good at his job.
And his job is apparently kicking my ass.
Sans is smart, really smart. But really, really, really smart. He understands the world of Undertale more than almost anyone else, and he knows magic that breaks the mechanics of the game, playing like no other monster the player has fought. On top of all that, despite having no way to remember any resets, he can deduce via context clues exactly what you are, someone determined to win the game. So if you're gonna fight dirty by getting as many do-overs as you want, so will he.
Yeah, this guy never ends his turn, meaning you never get your turn. So you cheat in kind. You managed to attack during Sans' turn. 2 times in a row, in fact. This catches Sans off guard for... This catches Sans off guard for the first time, ending my last 6 hours of torment.
6 hours this try. With the human's obstacle gone, the only person left to kill is the king himself, Asgore Dreamer.
And here's where things get really interesting. Because of your actions in this timeline, the king doesn't even recognize you as human anymore, directly asking Frisk what kind of monster they are, leading to Asgore being non-confrontational.
Because of that, Fly was able to kill Asgore before he even knew what was...
Genshin Impact va a ser eterno con esto. Ya me imagino el lobby del Eden Miliastra lleno de jugadores.
É aquele tipo de dono que tem uma ligação verdadeira com os pets. Um amor simples, mas cheio de afeto. A gata Risse também mora com ele. Um amor
This catches Sans off guard for the first time, ending my last 6 hours of torment.
6 hours this try. With the human's obstacle gone, the only person left to kill is the king himself, Asgore Dreamer.
And here's where things get really interesting. Because of your actions in this timeline, the king doesn't even recognize you as human anymore, directly asking Frisk what kind of monster they are, leading to Asgore being non-confrontational.
Because of that, Flowey was able to kill Asgore before he even knew what was going on, and Flowey exhibits fear.
Flowey had claimed that he didn't have any emotions anymore, that he did everything out of curiosity, but at the moment of his death, where he knew he couldn't bring himself back to life, he begged, pleaded with Frisk, with the player, with Chara, not to kill him, saying that he never betrayed them after all.
Well, remember when I said Azrael kind of dropped the ball for not killing anyone when him and Chara fused? Well, I guess Chara felt similarly. With no monsters left, all that exists is Chara and the human. Chara was in a similar state as Flowey, but instead of having their essence bound to a flower, they had their essence bound to Frisk, gaining more awareness as Frisk's love grew more and more.
Chara will ask the player whether they want to reset the timeline again or erase everything. No matter what the player answers, Chara will destroy every timeline no matter how many exist, and leave the entire universe as an empty void. Chara does this with a single slash, wiping out everything. Not just every normal monster, but everything within the current existing...
O outro já chega, né? Por favor, tira. Aquele poder de parar o tempo no modo... Oline, porque eu não aguento essas pessoas usando no PVP na próxima atualização. Remove isso, por favor.
Wiping out everything. Not just every normal monster, but everything within the current existing timeline in its entirety. This includes intangible monsters like Nabstabluk, someone Frisk couldn't harm normally. This attack destroyed all of time and space. It even destroyed the files on the player's computer. Chara was able to destroy infinity. For that to happen, the speed and strength of this attack would be incalculable.
This attack breaks the game, turning it off, and when you open it back up again, and some time passes, Chara will ask the player if they would like to restore the world in exchange for a Frisk soul. Your soul? The line's blurry.
Chara takes the soul for their own, recreating the entire cosmology of Undertale, and now taking control of Frisk's body whenever they wish.
And with that, we reach the end of the tragic tale of Frisk the Fallen Human. We know so little about them, but what we do know is that they had a life before and after the events of the game. That their own will is stolen by the player during the story, and they lose their future to Chara afterwards.
After genocide, resetting the timelines, and eventually taking Frisk's soul, not even the player can stop Chara from accomplishing their ultimate goal.
Because in the end, you're not the only one in control.
Outside of our dimension of the next exists a void of nothingness.
That is, until a mass of dark matter started forming, taking on the appearance of a dark cloud with red dots. This blob will be known as X.
After wandering around this void a bit, X came across this dimensional window that let him peer into the planet. After wandering around this void a bit, X came across this dimensional window that let him peer into the planet Earth, learning all kinds of things about humans, our likes, dislikes, cultures, etc. But of everything it witnessed, one thing stood out above the rest.
It was a franchise that we all know and love, Sonic the Hedgehog. X became infatuated with Sonic to an incredible degree, morphing his entire body to appear like Sonic himself, in a process that seems very uncomfortable.
X's eyes started bleeding profusely and it felt incredible pain. But X didn't care. After its transformation, it let out a laugh that echoed throughout the entire void.
X would then shape his void, creating small rooms that resembled areas you would see in the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games, which is where some would say the series peaked.
Executable file in it, Sonic.exe. Boom, name drop, baby.
Now, people really like Sonic the Hedgehog. So taking on his image was the best thing for X to do. A person would buy a Sonic game online because they want to feel the nostalgia, find out the game wasn't what it seemed, but continue on, even after all this messed up stuff and crazy shit they see.
This includes two victims of X's control, Tom and Kyle.
Now, Kyle had sent Tom a copy of Sonic.exe with a note, explaining that he had passed away, and that Tom should destroy the copy of the game so no one else gets hurt.
Tom, for some reason, didn't listen to this warning, popping the game into his computer and playing the cursed disc that would seal his fate.
Now, you'd think a person would stop playing after they'd start seeing all the blood and gore throughout the game, but thinking that this was just some hacked copy of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Tom continued out of pure curiosity.
This curiosity would be lethal. Upon completing the game, X would suck out Tom's soul, leaving his body in a vegetative state, and then trapped his soul into X's void dimension, binding Tom's soul to an avatar of a Sonic character to play with until he breaks. Because of X's love of humanity, it saw this method as a way to keep humans alive forever, personally believing that the death of a human is a waste of a life.
But breaking them is not a waste of life, just to get that clear.
It's a god compared to them, okay? It's like when you're a kid and you break a toy, you just replace it with another one, even if you really love the toy that broke.
Now, I don't know about you, but I never treated my toys like X treats the humans he's capturing. He can manipulate the shape of his own body, he can fly, teleport. Carrying out his mission to enslave all humanity is a big ask, which is probably why he also needed help inside of his void as well. These beings are called the Seven Guardians.
The Seven Guardians were created when X mixed its own dark power with human emotions, creating a ruling force within his void, as well as another way to manipulate human emotions to make weaknesses. Big 4D space, which means, Nick, help?
Hey, don't worry, I got you. 4D spaces have an infinite set of points, meaning there is no end. If X was able to explore the entire void, it would have to essentially have infinite speeds.
Okay, that makes sense. This is consistent with the Word of God, where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its... Where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. That X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its own void was impressive.
X would spend years stealing more and more human souls, eventually learning how to manage its anger and gain even better control of its powers. See, Neil, it's not that hard. Even Eldritch abominations beyond our comprehension can do it.
Wait, what is that supposed to
Once he did this, he donned the name Lord X. A bit of a god complex there, if I do say so myself.
Don't get it twisted. X might seem conceited, but compared to all of us small humans, it is God. And no matter how smart you are, X will always win in the end.
So, next time you see a Sonic game appear at your door, beware of its contents. Because before long, your soul could be its next plaything. Now that we've introduced today's stars, it's time to open the curtains and see how this story unfolds.
I hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, I've been searching everywhere. I'm glad I finally found you. I just wanted to ask, would you like to play a game?
Finding everyone in this realm was so easy. Everyone is so slow, fragile, and weak. Don't worry, your soul is next. This mine seems to be at its limit. It's no fun anymore, but I can play with you, right, Chara?
puts you in control, like some sort of god.
I am God!
This realm filled with so much death and destruction. Maybe let it persist because of some perverted design time?
I'm not one of you monsters. I am in control of your life and death. You are nothing but a blind enemy.
There's nothing worse than someone who thinks they are above consequences. Just another enemy. I will erase you like I have one
How does it feel knowing that your last chance at life is now fading before your eyes?
I stopped feeling anything a long time ago.
Lying till your last breath, I see.
And scene.
These two are absolute monsters that could destroy and recreate worlds in an instant, both potentially being limitless with how strong and fast they could be at their best. So there are some interesting factors to think about in this fight. We broke it down into a few very important questions.
After each retry.
X has never fought a being comparable to itself. In fact, when it gets outsmarted by normal humans, it has the tendency to rage quit and crash its own game.
As the fight goes on, Kara would start gaining the edge, while X would get more and more aggravated.
But X wouldn't make this easy on Kara, especially when we consider our third question, who had better weapons and abilities?
Kara had some neat weapons and could heal their soul with items, but
Who is better at manipulating and even like Kara permanently?
To avoid defeat, Kara couldn't help but fall behind.
So as the curtains close and we take a bow, the last person you see standing on the stage is Sonic.exe.
Vou dar uma olhada no Discord dele, né? Discord. Olhando. Discussão. Aqui. Subaru. Eu não sei, está falando.